Fujifilm's Achilles heels has always been their autofocusing. I've been tolerative with their autofocusing for several years now, but with many other brands out there putting their best tech inside their new cameras, you got the Nikons, the Canons, and the Sony of the world having great autofocus. And just last year, Panasonic decided to ditch their shitty autofocus for phase detection AF, and now their autofocusing has been great and respectable. They definitely leapfrogged over Fujifilm with their latest tech. I used to think Fujifilm was ahead of some of these camera brands, but now I honestly feel like they are dead last. And as camera technology advances, I cannot sit idly by and accept Fujifilm's shitty focus any longer. Every video of mine where I criticize Fujifilm's autofocus, I get the same comments from various of people. Oh, you have to tweak your camera settings. Oh, you need a better lens. The AF is lens dependent. So in today's video, we're going to be messing around with Fujifilm's XT5's camera AF settings. And I'm going to share with you my findings. I've tested it, all the AF presets that Fujifilm's provided us. You got the... And I'm going to use the Fujifilm XT5. And as you know, since the XT5 has the latest processor, the autofocus is supposed to be one of the very best in Fuji's line. I'm going to have the wife do the same walk over and over again to try to keep this test consistent. And then I'm going to share with you guys my results because I did tally this up right here. Do you see this? Which shots were in focus and which shots weren't in focus. And in this test, I used the Fujifilm XF 33mm f1.4 because they have the linear motors inside. So in theory, with my XT5 and the latest linear motor lens, this should give me the best result. There should be no excuses coming from the Fuji fanboys anymore. So starting with the preset that comes straight out of the box, which is the multi-purpose. So you're going to find a common theme in this AF testing across the board, that the Fujifilm's processor and that AI deep learning of theirs likes to focus on the tree leaves instead of the face. Although the box was on my wife's face, I find that the tree leaves in the corner to be sharper than her. This only happens at the beginning of the starting line and around that area. It's not until perhaps midway, once she becomes a presence in the frame, fill that frame, that the AF does latch onto her. But when the autofocus latches onto her, you're going to see that her shirt is much sharper than her face and her eye, which shouldn't be the case. If the box says it's tracking a human subject, I expect the face to be the sharpest, or the eyes. I find that her face to be quite soft. I don't know what's going on here, but it just feels like false positive to me. The score I got was 31 shots in focus out of 59. So this time the setting is different, but we got similar results in these particular sets of circumstances. The AF says that it's tracking the human, but when I look back and review my shots, the focus was on the leaves again. Then near the end, as Hillary got closer, the autofocus overshoots and focuses on her ears, and her face just couldn't get as sharp as I would like. So for settings number 2, this got a score of 30 out of 59. Let's move on to settings number 3. And this is probably the worst one. I know Hillary is using the paper to block her face because she didn't want to get sunburned. So that could be a factor in why this settings did so poorly. But also, whenever the Sony a7C II tracking had the face or the subject obstructed, they track the body afterwards until the face becomes unobstructive and it quickly latches back on to the human. So much for the AI deep processing in this X-Trans processor. This was 23 shots out of 59 that was in focus. Setting number 4, same thing, 35 out of 62 were in focus. Setting number 5 is 33 out of 64. And then this is my personal AF setting. This one got 36 out of 64. So let's move on to round 2, where we shot RAW plus JPEGs. And since I'm shooting RAW, I'm going to shoot at 5 frames per second because this burst rate is at a good enough burst rate where the buffer won't stutter. Also, again, I'm shooting this at wide tracking with face and eye auto detect. Let's see how it does with setting number 1. For this test, I told my wife not to block her face because I really want to see if the face will be in focus if there isn't any obstruction in the way. And the result is I got 18 out of 34 shots in focus. Set number 2, more of the same shit. It's 19 out of 35. What I learned was the Fujifilm autofocus is consistently good at giving us terrible hit rates. The X-Trans processor sucks, the firmware sucks, and I think for the premium price tag that we are paying for these XH2s and the XH2S and the XT5s, this is unacceptable. I still think that the Fujifilm AF is almost there because some of these misfocused shots should be easy to fix. No, like there are times where it just does dumb things like focus on the ear or the back of the hair or the t-shirt or the corner leaves. Anywhere but the face when the green box was actually tracking the head and the face this entire time. And then I do see the green box and it's tracking the subject very, very well. So what gives Fujifilm? What is going on at your Fuji headquarters? It was a simple test, by the way. It wasn't a kid running around. There wasn't any sports cars or wildlife shit. It was just some dude's wife walking in zigzags at an average pace. And if I were to take all the shots that were in focus today and average them out, the average success rate is 50.9%. And this is just god awful. I just have to remind you guys that the data that I'm giving you guys shouldn't be a be-all end-all type of scenario. People who shoot landscapes, travel, lifestyle, street photography, or subjects that are still or just move slower than my wife, I think you're going to be fine. These cameras still produces amazing images and I still love my Fujifilm XT5. Do I love it even less now? Absolutely not. I'm still going to take bangers regardless, but I would love to have more shots in focus and sharp and not have so many false positives. However, what I do love less now are the people working at Fujifilm for putting out such a terrible autofocusing algorithm. And for the people who are always telling me, it depends on the lens, it depends on the autofocusing settings. I hope this video proves you wrong. I went through all their AF settings and it's been consistent across the board. Consistently awful. Are there some camera AF settings that are better than others? Yes, the data says some are better than the others, but it's not even by that much. So we cannot use that excuse anymore. Like you need to tweak your camera settings. It just sucks. All of it sucks. So please guys, stop talking down to folks who are criticizing Fujifilm's autofocus because it's not user error. It's not the lenses that you use because I use the 33mm f1.4, which has the latest linear motor inside. And it's not the tweaking of the AF settings because we just tested it all out, and they're all horrible across the board. It's Fujifilm's fault for making such a terrible autofocusing system, and this testing shows that. I know there's tribalism in every camera brands. I know there are diehard fanboys in every camera brands, but these camera brands aren't perfect and things need to be fixed. But yeah, let me know your thoughts. Does this change how you feel about Fujifilm? I think moving forward, I won't be spending any more money on any Fujifilm cameras until they get the shit together. I don't believe their firmware updates could help either. Like, do you guys really think that Kaizen update can get a 50% hit rate to what? Like a 90%? I would be shocked if they can get it up to 60%. I just don't believe in their R&D department or whatever department focuses on the autofocusing anymore. And like what? I have to wait months on end, perhaps like another year for them to get an update? Like, fuck that. That's just so silly because firmware updates are fine if they come in a timely manner. I don't think these firmwares have been coming in a timely manner. It took Fujifilm almost a year for them to implement that red box recording onto the XH2S and the XH2. Honestly, they're just too busy making dedicated film simulation knobs to even care about their autofocusing algorithm. And you know what? That's fine, because at the end of the day, you can only rely on film simulations for so long until people start catching on and waking up from this film simulations fever and say, hey, you know what? We need a reliable autofocus. It's just lazy. Like, is that all you got? You're going to provide us with another brand new film simulation with this brand new camera launch? How about just giving me good autofocus? Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I don't want to make another autofocusing video again. I will continue to shoot with my Fujifilm and have lots of fun doing so. But I will also continue to criticize because I want their autofocusing to be good. And remember guys, change happens in life when we criticize. So start criticizing. Is that fair to say? And if you guys want to go do this autofocusing test for yourself and share it online for other people to see, because I'm curious to see what your data shows in a whole different set of circumstances and parameters. The more tests we do, the better. Do them in a different environment, different lighting scenario, different burst rates, different change of pace. Whatever you have in mind, and let the world see it. And hopefully Fujifilm will see this too and get their shit together, because this is ridiculous. I don't want 50% hit rate anymore. It's 2024. I've been with you guys since the launch of the Fujifilm X-T2. Because otherwise, I'm switching to